ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਸਰੋਤਿਓ, ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੁਰਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਾਠ। ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਚਹਿਰੀ 'ਚ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹਾਂ। ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਖਾਸ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਲੀਡਰ ਆਫ ਆਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵਰ ਹੁਣੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ 'ਚ ਆਏ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਪੀਅਰ।
Thank you for having me.
We know you're always busy. Thank you for your time. It's not every day we get leader of opposition in our studio. So whenever you address the press, there is a term that you use a lot, that this country is broken. Can you please elaborate on that?
It was true when I first said it that everything is broken, but now I don't think it's accurate. I think it's worse. Everything is shattered in Canada after 9 years of Trudeau. Everything costs more. There's 2 million people lined up at a food bank. 1 in 10 Torontonians have to eat at a food bank now. Housing costs have literally doubled under Trudeau. Rent has gone from a very modest $950 for a one-bedroom 9 years ago to well over $2,000 for the same property. We have 256 homeless encampments in Toronto. 50 have been added in the last 3 months alone. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are reigning in our streets. In the last month, the British media has said that Vancouver is the fentanyl overdose capital of the world, and I think it was BBC said that Canada is the car theft capital of the world. Our Prime Minister is seen as a clown and a joke on the world stage. He's laughed at and derided. And he divides our people on race, gender, ethnicity to distract from all that he has broken. But the good news is that life was not like this before Justin Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. We're going to bring home the country that we knew and still love, a country where hard work earns a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods, where we are united as one people under a common flag, a common country in this common land.
Pierre, over 100,000 cars get stolen every year as per the report by CNN that got published. And as you said, we are the car theft capital of the world.
Yeah.
And what's going on in Vancouver with government's safe drug program, with hydromorphine being given to these criminals and drug user people, and then they're selling it to kids. How do you feel about the safe drug program?
It's not safe. We have to be very careful not to use the dishonest language that radical and wacko government activists feed us. Hydromorphine is more powerful than heroin. The drugs that the government is giving out with your tax dollars are being diverted to children. That's now proven. The police have confirmed it. And the dealers are taking these hydromorphine drugs. They're giving them to kids to get them hooked. Then they're selling them to the kids to make a profit to buy more powerful fentanyl, tranq, meth, and other hard drugs that are completely deadly. Fentanyl can stop your heart or stop your lungs in 15 seconds. So this is extremely dangerous, and the result of this radical, wacko, never before seen policy is that 40,000 people have died of drug overdoses, and we have the fastest growing fentanyl and drug overdose crisis anywhere in the world. This is the direct result of radical, wacko policies by Trudeau, the NDP. I will end it. I will close the drug dens, fire the radicals, ban the drugs, treat the addiction, and bring our loved ones home drug-free.
Pierre, as per your words, you are inheriting, a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Our country is in a very bad situation right now, as per The Economist, as per drugs, car theft, and everything. What is your plan to fix everything?
We sum it up with a 4-point plan: axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime. Axe the tax means getting rid of the carbon tax to lower gas, heat, and grocery bills. It also means a new bring it home tax cut, which we will design within 1 year of taking office, that will lower tax on work, investment, and making things so that we can bring home more powerful paychecks and productions. 2, a simpler tax system with 20% less spending on the administration and compliance, and 3, a fairer tax system by cutting off handouts to multinational corporations and tax havens so that we can lower the burden on working class people. Simpler, fairer, lower taxes, axe the taxes. Build the homes by requiring municipalities free up land, speed up permits, and cut development taxes to permit 15% more home building a year. We'll also sell off thousands of federal government buildings. Finally, fix the budget. We're going to cap government spending and cut government waste with a new dollar for dollar law that requires we find $1 of savings for every new dollar of spending, which will bring down the deficit, the interest rates, and the inflation. And finally, we're going to stop the crime with jail, not bail, for repeat violent criminals, with treatment, not legal or subsidized drugs to bring our loved ones home drug-free, and with stronger borders and shipping container inspection to stop illegal drugs and guns from coming in and stolen cars from going out. That is a summary of my common sense plan.
And coming back to carbon tax, so PMO and PB, like Parliament Budget Officer, they're going on one another. Mm-hmm. Since last month, we were hearing that, as per Liberals, carbon tax put more money in Canadians' pocket than they are being taxed. And as per the PBOs and the numbers, they tell a different math. What do you have to say about that?
It's just another lie, because the government has since released a report that they've been hiding, which showed that there's a $25 billion of additional costs with the carbon tax that they had excluded from the calculation that they were using to claim people are better off. So Trudeau's been going around effectively saying, if you exclude $25 billion of the real cost of the carbon tax, then you're better off. It's like it's like saying, well, this Jaguar is affordable if you exclude the monthly payments on the lease. Like, it's insane. The carbon tax makes 6 out of 10 families worse off, either through in a combination of lower wages and higher prices. Think about it. How many trucking companies do you have in Brampton? They're all paying the carbon tax.
Yes.
The companies have to deduct that tax from the wages of the drivers and add it to the prices of the goods that you buy. So Trudeau doesn't want to include that. He only wants to include the stuff that you see on your receipt. But he's saying, well, if you don't see it on your receipt, it's not real. Well, of course it's real. You think the farmer who grows the food using diesel to power his tractor doesn't pass that cost on? You think the trucker who ships the food doesn't pass that on? Of course they do. But he wants to hide all that. It's dishonest. It's a fraud. He's lying again. And that's one of the reasons we need to fire Trudeau and axe the tax.
You know, it's really interesting as you talk about, but Liberals, they keep on promising people things which are not true. When we talk to farmers, they're stuck in a desperate situations. When we talk to farmers who have fishes or chicken coops, you need to keep the barn warm, and they're getting bills of like 14 grand a month, and half of that is carbon tax. How do you explain it to them that carbon tax is actually helping you? And when we look at countries like India and China, I come from Indian background, so the thing is, there we use still a lot of people use wood fire to make food, and the pollution and the working conditions are not really good. And do you think putting carbon tax on Canadians is helping the planet?
No, it isn't. It's driving production abroad. You look at the tomato farm in my riding, Suntech Tomatoes. They have to pay carbon tax on the CO2 they release into the greenhouse, even though the CO2 is absorbed by the plant life in the greenhouse, which apparently Trudeau missed that day in science class when he was 15. But now it's more expensive to buy a local tomato in my community than it is to buy a Mexican tomato. So people buy the Mexican tomato, which doesn't have a carbon tax, but it had to be transported by truck and train burning diesel fuel right across North America. The same goes with everything else. We're driving production of steel, of food, of everything else to other more polluting economies that drives pollution up. Here's a counter idea. National Bank, you mentioned India. National Bank says if we were to sell India our natural gas, then India could produce its electricity with a cleaner form of energy than coal, which would have the effect of reducing 2.5 billion tons of emissions. That is 3 times the total emissions of Canada. But we have 700 million tons of emissions in Canada. If we were to reduce global emissions by 2.5 billion tons by exporting our gas as an alternative to dirtier coal, we're actually reducing global emissions more than the total amount that all Canadians emit into the atmosphere. And we could get richer at the same time. So I want to approve natural gas liquefaction to export the 1,300 trillion cubic feet of gas we have right under our feet. Doesn't that sound like a common sense alternative?
That sounds really good and good for Canadians and good for our economy. We're still not sure why we don't have more oil plants too.
Yes.
We need that as source of energy so we can keep our country running because we're very rich on resources, but our government is gatekeeping everything and they're not letting too many industries in, and everybody is dependent on real estate for their investments. And look at the housing crisis right now. It's really expensive for young Canadian to afford a home at all.
It's very expensive, and that's why we need to build the homes. I'm going to require municipalities free up land, speed up permits, cut development taxes as a condition of getting federal funds so that they permit 15% more home building per year. And I'm going to sell off 6,000 federal buildings, thousands of acres of federal land. We're going to focus more on the trades among our young people so we have more builders, more boots, not more suits. We're going to get rid of the carbon tax to lower the cost of building materials. Through these common sense steps, we will build the homes that you can afford.
Okay, as we were talking earlier, you're going on door knocking in Brampton today. The thing is, in our city, we only have one hospital, like William Osler Hospital. We need more hospitals. The healthcare system is broken. If you look at the countrywide average wait time, it's crazy what you have to go through when you go in the hospital, and most of the patients, they end up leaving hospitals without even getting treatment. How do you plan to fix that?
Well, one idea I have is the obvious one. We have 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses that can't practice because they can't get a license to do their jobs. So in the trades, we have something called the Red Seal, which is a streamlined and consistent testing system to prove your qualifications as a mechanic, electrician, etc. I want to do the same in the professions through a Blue Seal certification that allows an immigrant doctor or nurse to take a test, prove they are qualified, and get to work within 60 days. This way we could also get many of the Canadian-born kids who go to Ireland, Caribbean, the States, Australia to study. They could come home, do the testing, get licensed very quickly.
That sounds like a good plan, and we just need your few words on extortion. There are a number of cases arising in our country for extortion. Could be South Asian businessman. The other day in Vaughan, the guy got kidnapped, and then he's safe and sound as per the police now. Why do we have so many repeat offenders and extortions? How would your government stop these things?
Well, we have so many repeat offenders because Trudeau keeps releasing them through his bill C-75, C-5, C-83. He lets criminals out within hours of their arrest. So he also reduced the penalty for those convicted of extortion with a gun. So you can take a gun, extort a business, use the gun to shoot a bullet into the window of the businessman's 2-year-old child, and get out of jail and do your sentence in your living room, house arrest. This is the insanity of our wacko Prime Minister and his wacko policies. Tim Singh Appleji is my deputy leader. He has a bill that he brought forward to bring in mandatory jail time for extortion. Unfortunately, Trudeau and the NDP voted it down. But when I'm Prime Minister, I'm going to implement Tim Apple's bill. that will crack down on extortion, will put the extortionists in jail. We're going to reinforce the RCMP's role in breaking up international and organized crime networks. We're going to secure the borders to stop the illegal drugs and guns from coming in and the stolen cars from going out. That's how we're going to bring home safety to our streets again, and it starts with locking up the extortionists and protecting our businesses and families from these monsters.
Pierre, do you think news channels, they should be paid by the government?
No.
$1 billion to CBC every year, and they're giving bonuses to their 1,200 employees, and they know people are frustrated as CBC is spending taxpayers' money like this, giving bonuses to their top executive and people over there, and now they're setting up a committee which is going to be again paid by the CBC to see if they're giving fair bonuses or no.
Unbelievable. We're giving $1 billion to CBC, which is a liberal propaganda network. All they do is push liberal messages, and then independent entrepreneurial media like yours get shut out. You're not even able to get on Facebook anymore because of the other Trudeau bill that shuts down your Facebook page. This is a communist approach to media where the state controls everything. I will end that. I will repeal C-18, C-11, C-63. We will have free speech in the internet. The media will be able to compete for eyeballs and earlobes through good content, not through government edict. I can't wait to shut down and destroy the censorship state that Justin Trudeau has created.
Okay, Pierre, we're almost running out of time, and people have a lot of expectations from you and your government. Is there any message that you want to leave with our audience today?
Yes, look, I know that it's a terrible time in Canada. After 9 years of Trudeau, everything costs more, work doesn't pay. You make it, he takes it. Housing costs have doubled, crime, chaos, drugs and disorder, extortion are reigning in our streets. But the good news is that common sense conservatives will bring home the country that we knew and loved. We'll axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, fight for a direct flight to Amritsar to save you travel time to that beautiful destination, and really bring home the country that you loved before Justin Trudeau destroyed it. This is a bright, optimistic, wonderful future, so let's be optimistic about it. Let's lock arms. Let's bring it home.
Thank you so much for your time, Pierre. So ਇਹ ਸਨ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵਰ ਹੁਣੀ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਮਸਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਈ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਐਗਜ਼ਿਟ ਪੋਲਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਫੇਵਰ 'ਚ ਕਰ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਆਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ 'ਚ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣਗੇ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣੇਗੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਹੱਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਮਸਲਾ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਾਰਬਨ ਟੈਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਖਾਰਿਸ਼ ਹੀ ਕਰ ਦੇਵਾਂਗਾ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਟੋ ਥੈਫਟ ਆ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ ਰੋਕ ਲਾਈ ਜਾਊਗੀ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੈਲਥ ਕੇਅਰ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਵੀ ਬਿਹਤਰੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਊਗੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣ ਲਈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਰਹਿਣਗੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਾ ਅੱਜ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਕੇ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੁਰਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਾਠ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।